In terms of like reacting to criticism or people that like it, I love it. It doesn't matter what it is. Even if it's someone that just says, this sucks, you suck, right? Which doesn't happen often. People are actually really nice. But when that does happen, it's kind of funny, because I think the biggest thing for anybody, starting out or making music or anything to do with arts that's starting to put it out, you need to be able to filter out hate and constructive criticism, right?
I was just gonna say, like, so you is your main thing producing, and is that what you started off doing as well?
Yeah, I that's like my main, I guess. Obviously, I have a day job, but that's like my main source of income from music, right? But then I don't know if I don't want to blabber on too much, but basically I have like REIDØ, which is like me, right? That's me as an artist. And then there's all the behind the scenes stuff, which is just production. And so one makes money and another is a business move, right? Because the more listeners I have on the REIDØ, like as me and on ads, the more listeners I have for me as an artist, obviously the more artists want to work with me as a producer, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So they kind of work.
So was it just like a solo business move that you're like, yo, I'm gonna jump in this music industry and grab the bag, or
I don't know. I just love making music. Like, it's super cliche, but it's just fun. I literally, well, I hate to admit this, but I was up till I pulled an all-nighter last night working on the song. And it's like, but it doesn't really feel like it feels like work, and it's really it can get really stressful at times. But when I'm just like in the creative process of a song, right? When it's still like laying down the ideas, it's just so fun. It's like it's super cliche, but it's just freeing,
Yeah, no, for sure.
Super cliche, kind of cool. That's okay.
We've had other artists on this show as well, and they always say like their music is like an outlet for them. They use it to either tell stories. I'm curious to see, as like from a producing standpoint, do you do the same in your making beats, or how does that work?
Now I don't want to speak for all producers, because I think a lot of them would disagree with me on this one. Sure. But for me, producing is just about making a good song. It has really, it's a lot less meaningful than singing or writing. But in terms of like storytelling and that sort of thing, obviously there's it's super it means a ton to have a good produced song, right? Or a well-produced song. But no, for me, most of the actual storytelling and motion comes in when I write songs, right? And that I do quite a bit of. Just for other artists, but and some of them. But no, I think with the production, it's mostly just about, I think people, this is so corny, but people can kind of hear the passion through the music. It's so corny, but do you know what I mean? Where it's
hell yeah,
you can hear someone who's just starting out producing, and then someone who's been doing it for a couple of years.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't mean that there's any less passion, but you can just hear those little extra bits that maybe you kind of notice, and it's like, oh, he could have left that out. You know what I mean? But he put that in, that's cool. Those little ear candy bits.
Yeah.
So what was the process like for you? Starting at 13, man, you're a kid. You should be playing out in playgrounds and stuff, right? Not working on GarageBand and cooking the beats. So, what was that process like? How was that learning experience and learning curve for you?
GarageBand, okay. Everybody hates on GarageBand, obviously, rightfully so. But I cannot recommend it enough to anybody who wants to make music. It doesn't matter if you're just a singer, if you're a writer, if you're anything. It's the greatest thing, because that's where you got the bug for it. You know what I mean? That's all that it takes, really. You just need one little thing where you can actually lay down music. It's one thing to write a song in your notes, but to be able to, or record it in a voice memo, right? but to be able to like record it onto a program, even if it's like not the best one, record it into a program, and then you are able to hear it and edit it and change it and then say, I don't like that part, or I do like this part. You know, I don't know. It's a whole different game. And I think that's kind of why it just kind of works for me. I don't know if that answers your question or not, but.
Perfect.
I mean, you had a background in like sort of musical instruments before going in, but I'm curious to see what were your first beats like? Like, like how is that? What's that improvement and growth been like?
I mean, there's been a lot. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's so funny because there's going to be people from like, even like early high school, because I'm 19 now, I graduated last year. Even like grade like 9, like my beats were still not very good, right? Sometimes it just takes that like click, but the process of it is like, even if the creative part isn't there yet, or even if the mixing part isn't there yet, right? Because I think those are two of the biggest parts of music, right? You can have a really like good song, right? Something that sounds good, but it just doesn't produce well, or vice versa, right? And that's the way it was for me. I had cool ideas, and I was putting them down, and you could hear the ideas. Like anybody who listened to it could hear it. It just didn't sound professional. And I think that's the biggest change since I was 13 to now, right? If I were to send you my first beat, which I don't even have anymore, I don't even know where it is, probably on like my iPod 3 or something. But you listen to that, and then you listen to like For You or something, or it's just, that's the biggest difference. It's not like there's anything more creative. It just maybe the passion grew a little bit more. That's why you hear like, just the little extra bits that I didn't need to put in, but I chose to because it's just easy for me because it's passion. I don't know. Oh, so corny. But you get what I'm saying, right?
No, we understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I make a little bit of music as well, and like I know what you're saying, right? And then I think anybody who does make music or is musically inclined is listening to you right now and being like, yeah, I feel that too,
Yeah.
So you're good. You're good.
Exactly. And what do you do? What kind of music do you make?
I would call it rap. I mean, that comes under the general thing, but yeah, it's just playing around with it right now,
For sure. Well, if you never need a producer, you know who to call.
I was just gonna be like, yo, we should. I'll hit you up after this.
For sure, yeah, man.
It should definitely work. We should definitely work.
Oh yeah.
I know as a high school kid in the cafeterias, I was always doing the pen beats, right? I'm a killer at pen beats, bro. I go insane with pens. Has that always been your creative side too? Just like making music out of anything, or was it strictly just?
Well, I don't know. I guess it's more just on I get inspiration from, well, you know what I found? Because I used to work at Winners. Shout out to the Winners gang. But and when I was there, like say it was a dead day and I was working in the fitting rooms, there's not much people coming by. It's like, I'd be tapping the pens and stuff, right? Probably annoying all the customers. But then I'd like write a whole song in that shift. And I think in that sort of sense where it's making music out of anywhere, it's more like a creative thing for me. I don't know. It's like, I know it's not that deep, but if I'm out and about, it's way easier to have like creativity, right? I think that's for anybody, right? You get locked down and, it gets a little bit harder. And that's why I turn to things like this synth or, my computer where I have tons of sounds and I could just find like a cool, or a stupid video on TikTok and then I sample that, you know what I mean? And just make a stupid beat out of it. And then that stupid beat turns into another good beat and then just gets the ball rolling.
So have you made your fair share of stupid beats, you would say?
I made a couple for sure. Yeah. There's a couple songs that me and my buddies made too that, I don't know if the world can ever hear, but they're good.
They're good.
They're so bad.
Sometimes they're just for yourself though, just sometimes just to enjoy yourself.
Dude, when one of us gets on the aux and we put that, it goes stupid.
Nice.
Oh man. So you started at 13, right?
Yeah.
Slowly started working up 19. I'm sure your friends were like, bro, what are you doing? Like, come party. And you're like, nah, man, I want to be in the studio. Let me work on this grind. What was that like for you? Was that always like, if a song turned out good, your friends were like, yo, this is sick. And if it's like, yo, it's trash. Like, what was that respect like or love like for you?
For sure. Well, I'll answer the first part. Like, to be honest, I actually never really, like, when it comes down to like crunch time for a song where I need to get it in order to make a release date, right? Obviously that kind of that's when I kind of have to say like, sorry, I got to work on this music or whatever. But most times I never let it get in the way of like my personal life, I guess, because I treat it like a job. And then in terms of like reacting to criticism or people that like it, I love it. It doesn't matter what it is. Even if it's someone that just says, this sucks, you suck, right? Which doesn't happen often. People are actually really nice. But when that does happen, it's kind of funny, because I think the biggest thing for anybody, starting out or making music or anything to do with arts that's starting to put it out, you need to be able to filter out hate and constructive criticism, right?
And this is my personal question, and I love to ask on every single podcast to the guests that we have, is for that young entrepreneur or music independent artist that's out there who's trying to get into the production side of things, what are some tips that you would give to them?
Oh, that's such a good question. Oh, I love this. I'm having so much fun. Okay. I would say, again, another super cliche, corny line here, but somebody said the best things in life are on the other side of fear. So true. It's so true. Doesn't matter. If you ask out a girl, for example, that's super scary. Yep. She's going to say yes or no. Either way, you're either going to learn from it or you're going to, you got a date with this girl. Same with the music. When you release a song, obviously just like show it to people first. That's super scary. I almost find it scarier to show one person than hundreds of people, because that's one person and obviously it's expected that they're going to give a critique or an opinion back. That's super scary. But when I send it to one of you guys, so either you hate it, then I learn from it. I ask why, I learn from that, or you love it. And then I have a song that I know that people might like. And I think that is something that is super important. And with any artist, doesn't even matter if it's like music, anybody who's in arts, just do it.